whenever you have the opportunity to beat a team, you want to do that. So we had a huge opportunity last game. It is what it is, and now we have another opportunity, to battle, a tough team in a tough environment.
Josh, does it feel like by the time you get to Game 6, like you've seen all the adjustments they're going to make and the other way around? Like at this point, does it just kind of come down to like not making mental mistakes, or just kind of who plays more mentally tough?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, there's still, certain ATOs and stuff, that might switch. They added a couple new plays. Last game they got a couple easy layups, but it's for sure, more the mental side of it, and trying to make sure you're locked in, you're communicating, you're making the right rotations, taking care of the ball, shooting good shots. So it's right now I'll probably say it's mostly mental, but there's still some physical aspect to it.
With the rebounding, Josh, offensive boards just 6 in Game 5. That's a battle that you guys have won like this entire series until that night. Like, how much of a point of emphasis does that need to be?
I think it always is for us. You got to give them credit when credit's due. They rebounded the ball very well last game, so that's something that we got to continue to do. We got to know that's part of our bread and butter, is getting second chance points, getting easy shots, off rebounds and stuff like that.
So Josh, you mentioned they added a couple of new plays. I assume like one of them is like that play that you break out the layup on, where they kind of ran a different action than they did on that previous play. They got the Maxey 3.
Yeah.
Like when you see that and it's a Game 5, and part of you probably thinks like, okay, I feel like we've probably seen everything there is to see at this point. Does that kind of extra catch you by surprise, and how does that affect your mentality moving forward in the series?
I don't think it necessarily catches you by surprise. I think if we're communicating at a high level and we have each other's back, we're able to kind of put out some of those fires. Having ball pressure, those kind of things. So I don't think it really catches us by surprise as long as we're continuing to do what our foundation is built on. We know there's going to be certain plays, drawn up that, try to get, Maxey going, or, Joel or Kelly or Tobias, whoever it is. But as long as we're sticking to, our core values and our foundation, we should be solid.
Josh, what do you do in the last 48 hours to recover after playing the amount of minutes you did the other night?
What you do after every game that you play?
I mean, that night wasn't much sleep. I didn't get much sleep that night. Thinking about what we could have done, and then one of my kids didn't want to sleep, so my wife brought him into bed, and he was watching Miss Rachel till about 8 in the morning. So it wasn't much sleep that night, but after that it was just move on. I went and got shots up, cold tubbed, massage, soft tissue work, icing, those kind of things. So something I do normally. Had some really good sleep last night. Games in like 9 hours, so I have a very long nap, if I want. So just that stuff. This is how I play in the regular season. You know what I mean? It's not, for me, it's not anything added, or it's like added intensity or anything like that. I play 100%, whenever I step on the court. So for me, my body's used to playing at that level, playing at that intensity. So when it's the playoffs, my body's not shocked, and it's like, oh, hold on, wait 1 second, what are we doing? So,
2-part question for you as a learner. Were you the type of kid that learned more from things going wrong, or from like, I did it right, I'm gonna do it again?
Probably a little bit of both. I think it's easy to learn when you do something wrong. I think it's harder to learn when you're doing something right. So obviously we just had a gut, wrenching loss. So it's easier to be locked in, and easier to learn from those mistakes where you're getting wins, and you could have a little bit of slippage, but you're still winning games. And then when that slippage catch up to you, you lose several in a row. So for me, probably a little both, but it's always easier to learn after a loss.
So that applies to the personality of this team.
Yeah, I think so. I think what this team is really focused on is being prepared and when the ball tips. And at the end of the day, like I said, last game, it was a gut-wrenching loss for us. But when that ball goes up at 9 or 9:06, whenever that ball, 9:12, whenever that ball goes up, that game's wiped away, and there's nothing we can do about it. The only thing that we can do is, face adversity, head on, and just play our game.
When you see what the atmosphere was like here for Game 3 and 4, and now I don't know if you saw the stuff about their owners buying.
Maybe a little different.
Well, the owners buying 2,000 tickets.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of think you guys have kind of got in the organization's head, or?
I don't know. That's up to them. This is a good sports town. Those 2,000 tickets are going for a good cause. So, I always show love to the first responders. But that was interesting to see.
When a guy like Tyrese Maxey goes for, what do you have, 46 in the last game or whatnot, just do you guys change how you defend him? Like, what's the approach to slowing him down?
I don't think the approach changes because we're always focused on him. We know what he's capable of. He hits some incredibly tough shots, and sometimes when you're that good of a player, you're going to do that. So we have a lot of respect for him, gained a lot of respect for him and how he carries himself, during the series. But we know what he's capable of. All-star, multiple player. So we just got to make sure we're physical, make sure we're locked in every possession to make it tough.
Speaking of Maxey, you guys had a mid-season or mid-series adjustment where I guess it was 2 games ago now, where OG kind of started guarding Oubre, and you took majority of the possessions on Maxey. What's it like with you and OG, where Tibbs calls you guys interchangeable defensively? What's it like with you and OG, where you can kind of like switch around, guard similar people? How do you feel like you guys enhance each other's defensive strengths?
It's good because we have different styles, of guarding guys, so it gives guys different looks. And then when either of us are off ball, we try to be very active, especially OG. He's a great off ball defender in terms of, verticalities at the rim, able to, get his hand in passing lanes and, strip downs and stuff like that. So it's something that, I really enjoyed, playing alongside him just because his defensive ability is one of the best I've seen. And then on the flip side, he's someone who's just a winning basketball player, knock down shots, cut, finish at the rim, and that's something that I feel like we probably can look for him, a little bit more, especially me in transition, trying to find him when he's open or trailing, and kind of make sure he's happy and continuing to go.
Is Tibbs more or less prone to yelling at you after 11 p.m.?
Tibbs yells at me whenever, so I don't think it really matters what time it is. Tibbs called me. He calls me all the time, y'all. So it doesn't matter.
Thanks, Josh.
Just real quick, before you go. Julius has obviously been gone has been away from you guys for a while. Like, is he in contact with you guys, like what he sees or whatever, like in the games, and where do you think you guys miss him the most?
Yeah, he's in contact with us. Where do we miss him the most? That's tough. Where do I start? He was an all-star. He was 24 and 9 and 5 and whatever it is. So that playmaking, that shot making, is something that we're missing. And it's just, it's funny when people talk about us, they somehow forget the big void that we have of 24 and 9, gone. It's not like he's out there with us. 70%, 80% he's not out there. So that's something that's a big void that. We knew it was going to be hard to fill, but his playmaking, his shot making, his energy is something that we definitely miss.